Hello, is this my human family here? Or am I, as always, mistaken? Am I being deceived by some infiltrating unseen force? Not yet, not yet. But if they hack in through the mind again, that is so subliminal you don't even notice, I might have to cast them out again and tell them to leave, okay? You're looking at a modern day exorcist, and we've not even started yet. So, welcome, dear human family, to another crazy live event happening here. I could have done this months ago. I already had 1,000 subscribers, and I could have done that months ago. And it didn't click. So now I have to make up for it and do one every day. That's how it goes. And today I want to speak about notice of liability, a healing solution or something like that. I called it a remedy for healing the planet, for healing the earth, for healing humanity. Everyone's invited. Isn't that a great thing to realize? It's like we're suddenly out of that illusion bubble, and we suddenly realize that we're actually responsible for our actions. Wow, who would have thought? What? And you're telling me that the natural order and the realm that I live in is actually embedded in that source code. That source code is embedded in the realm that I experience. So I don't even have to write it on a piece of paper. Okay, when you do acts of criminal behavior as like a crime against humanity, then you are privately liable. I don't even have to write it on a piece of paper. It's in the realm. It's in the little pixels all around us. That information is contained in that. How fantastic is that? Why am I even here bothering around sending notices of liability to politicians? Because it has to be brought to their attention. They've hidden so many informations from us, from our conscious awareness, and just gave us all the bullcrap, all this nonsense that we learn at schools, that we learn at university. I also learned good things at university, but never that sort of information. It's the sort of information that I like to define as what we don't want you to know. That's what I try to focus on, is what is the information that they really, really, really don't want me to know? Oh, and once I find that out, I'll dig deeper and deeper and put more salt in the wound, because that might actually heal it. I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt anyone. Okay? I'm not interested. The last guy you're going to see who's going to use violence is me. Except when I'm really angry. I've never been in a fight. Maybe I should do. Have that as an experience also and put it on my list. Done a fight, check. No, I wouldn't initiate violence. Never. However, I will protect myself. That's a whole nother thing again, isn't it? The divine masculine principle to stand up for yourself. When someone wants to attack your family or your friends, you stand up for yourself. And that's what the notice of liability approach is also teaching us. Is that you don't take this shit any longer. I had a phone call today. A friend of my sister phoned me up, and she was talking about her, what was it? The mother of her boyfriend was tested positive. And now her boyfriend is supposed to go into quarantine and all this and that. I don't want to go into the specifics because the whole situation is already ridiculous from the beginning. And I had to explain to her that that is your spiritual test to actually live spirituality. Okay, it actually takes your participation. And this is a woman who's skilled, apparently learning shamanism. Okay, I really like her, and she's got some very good skills there. You can see, but yeah, there's a but. Enacted spirituality and living spirituality, meaning living by moral principles, is a whole new world that opens up for most people, even for people who've been so-called shamans for 30, 40 years. Suddenly they're like, I've had this the last few weeks. Got to know new people, okay, that do energy work, do shamanism, and really skilled at it. And they look at me like, what? You go shopping without a muzzle? Well, and I just asked them, could you imagine me with a muzzle? Nah, it doesn't work on this one, for sure. Never, ever, ever will work. That's why I'm so confident and hyper optimistic that we're taking them down big time. No chance. Okay, the end. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, call me a prophet in half a year's time, a year time, when we meet at a dinner party, having a beer, and you might be standing next to me and be like, I heard you talk on that video about taking down the mafia, and now we've done it. What the fuck? Yes, exactly. Because what is a Gnostic but someone who reads the information codes of reality from the unseen level, knowing that you just have to pull it into the seen level of reality? You're already decoding on the spiritual realm, which is obviously intrinsically linked with the material realm. You're decoding from the causal level of reality, which is always in the unseen, and you pull those causal factors and an aspect into the seen reality of where you experience it on a so-called symptom level of reality. That's why everyone's saying, oh, nothing's happening here, because they're always going by the seen level of reality. Okay, which is always a distortion of what it really is, because most of what is reality we can't see. Okay, due to the simple fact of how we can only see and decode with our visual perception that which reflects visible light, which is tiny part of the electromagnetic spectrum, 0.05% or something like that. Could be another number. Okay, let's not argue about the numbers here. And that's coming back to liability. It's a very deep subject. That's why I worked on it for 4 years before really enacting it. It was like the thing with consciousness. I first read the notion about consciousness in a David Icke book in 2012. The first David Icke book. The first few pages I'm reading, I'm like, consciousness. What is that? I didn't even know what it is. What is it? What the hell should that be? When it's actually fundamentally important, but no one's telling you. No one tells you about up to this point what consciousness is, and that has a lot to do with who we really are. Although I would go beyond that we are even beyond consciousness and spirit, into the soul, the whole of the soul domain where we become everything. That's a whole nother topic. But it was the same with liability. I was like, what the hell is liability? What does that even mean? And as always, the most important things, it seems, are just never spoken about. And then I slowly started to figure, having already known that the single number one problem that we have in the world is mind control. Okay. What is the number one problem in the world? It's mind control. What is the Matrix? It's mind control. And then I was like, wow, they actually made the public and people believe that politicians can do and enact whatever the fuck they want and get the people to believe that they can get away with it. You see? What a hack. What a mind bend. You can restart the whole thing again. So you have an institution called the United Nations that was founded upon the space that was officially owned by the Rockefellers, after the Second World War, genocide. And that institution to the outside represents an organization that is responsible for a peaceful world and peace in the world. And you make the genocide continue without people noticing. You do that in Africa through those civil wars they had there. No, they were manipulated. They were there in the 60s and 70s for the World Bank and the IMF to move in, okay, build roads for which these African countries are now indebted, okay, because of the money that was pumped into those countries in Africa, okay, pay for the infrastructure for the multinational corporations and put that debt onto the native people, okay, whose resources that belong to them, that are from the land, that belong to the planet and the people, to extract those resources, okay, and make them pay for the parasitism that you're creating with multinational corporations moving in, and this and that, whilst committing genocide, okay, everywhere, all across the world. And you have politicians in there that get away with everything, absolutely everything. That's a big problem. And that's something that dawned on my mind, is like, how do they get away with it? You know, wouldn't that be a good question to ask? And with the notice of liability approach that we've followed, and I want to speak about this because there's a lot of questions. How can I approach this? Yeah. And very clearly, I also need a sort of a template to self-guide through this too, and get ideas and gather ideas, and then create my own. Important to have as much material to work with. But for our notice of liability approach, it's now come to a point where last week, the Chancellor of Austria spoke publicly about responsibility. And you know what he said? He said that he wasn't responsible for any of his actions because the public voted him in. What a demented mindset, you see? And that's what drives these politicians. It's a mindset of dementia. Oh, we can do whatever we want, okay? We're not responsible at all. Oh, and we call it political immunity or diplomatic immunity whilst committing genocide. How about that? That's crazy. So I wanted to use this time to create another live video and to jot down some notes because I'm working on a notice of liability, or more a command, a high command for the reunion summit by Josh Del Sol. Josh is a good friend of mine by now, and Josh was actually the one who introduced me to the notice of liability idea with his great documentary called In Power, Take Back Your Power. So type in Take Back Your Power, watch that documentary movie. That gives you the introduction to the subject. Very, very good introduction. Cal Washington, you can also watch interviews by him, especially the one with Richard Grove. I highly recommend, still on YouTube actually. Richard Grove, Cal Washington, C-A-L Washington. Fantastic work, okay? That's where I gathered my ideas. And I want to write this command, and I thought I'll just speak about it because I can use that time instead of just keeping it to myself. Oh, I've got the solutions and I'm going to do it all by myself. I thought I'll try something new and actually share a little bit talking about that and give it into the information field as quickly as possible. I've learned that this works really well in the process of manifestation. So I'll be talking about liability and jotting a few notes down here, and it's a way of healing, okay? Because we are creator beings, and when you create circumstances around you, okay, you have a major participation in the reality that you experience. If not, everything comes from you. Then for these creations, you also need to take responsibility, okay? Which is the ability to respond to situations. I think that's a major muscle that we as human beings need to train again, okay? There's a direct solution to our life, solving our life problems, whatever they are. It doesn't only have to be about macroscopic problems like the world crisis that we have since last year, but also our internal relationships, family, friends, or whatever. It's important to take responsibility and to own all of it. Own it. Okay. What I learned from London Real, for example, was extreme ownership. Okay. You take extreme ownership for your life. Boom. We need to own it all. And this happens also in life with taking responsibility. So instead of reacting and lashing out at people, and I'm the first one to admit that I don't always make that happen. Okay, I sometimes lash out too, but then I say sorry straight away. I'm like, sorry, mate, I just got hacked. I mean, I wouldn't probably say that like that, but I say it to my Gnostic Takeover audience here, of course, because I hope you know what I mean. If not, I'll go deeper into the hacking of the mind that the occult world, these unseen forces from an unseen world, how they manipulate our psyche and our mind by hacking right in. So subliminal that it's just beyond the threshold of your consciousness. But the more you train that, you realize that. And the more you get into your power, okay? When demons start attacking you, okay, you can really respond in a powerful way and stand up for yourself. And then the energy they exert on you, you transform and integrate it into your being and you elevate up. That's proper enlightened spirituality. When the attack of the demon or demons is directly, that energy is directly transformed and you absorb that energy and integrate it and you level up. And more they won't be able to deal with you and not even get close to you. So that's what responsibility is all about. So responsibility, that would be a good way of starting that command. Liability, which obviously leads to liability. Liability is the responsibility in monetary terms, because it's a monetary-based system. Monetary-based system to organize the life force energy. Yeah, organize life force energy. That's what actually politics should be. It's infrastructure management. Okay. Politics. What's a TIG, huh? Politics is infrastructure management. Okay, that's what it really is. So in the system, we organize life force energy. Okay, organization, that's fine. Nothing wrong about that. I think you need a little bit of organization. Okay. When it's needed, when it's necessary to organize things, because otherwise things go out of hand. But what they made us believe, okay, inside the criminal system, okay, so there's a system, okay, and there's a criminal system. Very important. Learn things, okay, a system and the criminal system. So that's where you really have them with liability. That's a number one principle of understanding what liability is and how powerful this information is. So we don't live on a system, we live on a planet. Okay. And on that planet, we say we organize life force energy. Okay. And every system that's in place, no matter what system, is always and can always and only will ever be a copy of the natural order. No escaping them. Because we need a point of orientation to realize what we're dealing with, in which reality we are in. We need an orientation somewhere where we can orient ourselves, and that's why most people don't have a point of orientation. Therefore, they fall into ideological belief systems. Oh, you have to believe something, and with crises like we've had since last year, lots of people join religious groups and do religion, or they subordinate to the religion of governmentalism, in this case, COVIDianism. Why do they subordinate? Because they have to hold on to something. Please, oh, yeah, you have to believe something, and holding on to things. That's where we get the root word religion from religare, to hold back, okay? To hold back and to tighten your grip on an ideology that's not real, not actually real as principles, okay? That's why knowledge is the enemy of belief, not the other way around, okay? Only belief systems crash against the wall of resistance in comparison to true knowledge and gnosis. Oh, and that's why everyone goes crazy when you start saying, oh, I know this. I know. Hey, Ahmed, my brother, much love. Great to have you here. Ahmed is doing some absolutely great work in London. Big shout out to Ahmed. And some great energy ceremonies. In London, they just did a few energy ceremonies. Fantastic. You know, we've been doing this in Austria also the last few months, and really built up the energies, which has major implications, which we can also talk about. But coming back to the point, okay, there is a natural order, and those are principles, and your whole environment will go crazy when you start speaking the truth, because they'll be looking at you and they're like, he thinks he knows. Oh, and in their unconscious, they actually have subscribed to such a poisonous ideology that you can't ever know anything. Wow. I'm not surprised that the world is in the state that it's in. When you actually believe that you can never know anything. Wow. Of course we're screwed up as a race when we believe that. How ridiculous. Well, let me exemplify this. I drop this glass and it breaks. Okay, so I've just observed that I held the glass in that height, threw it on the floor, it broke, and that's truth. Okay, that is the absolute truth, independent of what you think it is. There's your evidence that truth exists. Okay, that's one way of looking at things. And the natural order, coming back to the point, the natural order is in place. Cause and effect, and the principles, the Hermetic principles, the principle of correspondence, that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm, and vice versa. The principle of mentalism, that which we experience in the realm outside of ourselves is of it always of a mental nature. Okay, so everything in our experience is mental. Oh yeah, everything. Materialism, frequency. It has a mental taste to it. That's where we can have a unified or start have a unified view of life. When you look at it in terms of the principle of mentalism, it's also frequencies. It's also energy. Those are really important things that I have looked into since 2014. And this is where we get to the core of things. And everything from that natural order, has to be a copy of it. Okay? Every system is a copy of the natural order. So how interesting that in the system that we're in now, we're registered in a trust form, in a trust fund. Okay? Interesting. Trust. In my heart. Okay? The system is a copy of the natural order, so therefore, possibly, we're registered in the trust fund in the outside through our birth certificate because of the lack of trust that needs to be compensated in the outside because it's not inside. And in this system, what is the one thing that we can that every system where we can have every system tied together, and one thing where you can say, okay, that makes sense, that exemplifies the system we live in, for example, no matter where you live in the world. Okay, you've got government. I would suppose you've got government. Okay, and the government offers you security, doesn't it? To secure you from who? From the terrorists that they fund, or secure you from diseases which are created by the level of stress, okay, and emotional traumatization throughout our lives because of the way things are structured. So they offer you security. But why don't we ask the question, oh, you offer me security. Where's your insurance? Are you insured to do what you're doing? And that's where this whole scam unravels, the crisis of 2020. And this is probably the most important information that I have come across, is that we live in an insurance system. And none of these measures are insurable. And if politicians want to enact these measures, like the wearing of muzzles and all of these measures, I would like the insurance that you have for that. You want to enforce this, okay? You want this enforced, okay? So please show me the insurance for it. That you are insured for all the damages that are caused of lockdowns, for example, okay? How many millions over billions are lost because of a lockdown? Economic 0 points, okay? Lots of money being lost. Who insures for all those damages that are caused in suicide, in diseases, in all of the ramifications of that, people losing their businesses, losing their existence, all of it. It's tragic. Where's the insurance? Okay. So governments, let's take a step back, because it's not an easy thing to really click. Okay, so I'll come at it from different angles. Okay, they offer you security. Government offers you security. Where's the insurance, you ask? Very important is the difference between laws and regulation. Okay, governments, okay, are only allowed to enact laws in their own system. Okay, governments are only allowed to enact laws. Wouldn't it be a good question what a law is? A law is a contract. What is it? A law. So you've got people writing things on a piece of paper. Oh, the law is now so and so. And we're gonna fine people so and so if they break this law. So can I write up anything I want on a piece of paper and say it's law? No. What is law? It's a contract. Okay? Because coming back to what I explained before, in the natural order of things, everything is embedded already in the realm that you experience. Okay? The behavior you enact in your reality is reflected back to you. Okay? Hence the saying, you reap what you sow. Okay? What you cause in your behavior, the effect and the effects of your behavior is going to be reflected back to you in the realm. Okay? It's already regulated by nature. Everything is already regulated in the natural order. But then you've got a parallel system to that, okay? We call the law of the sea, for example, okay, or Admiralty law, whatever you want to call it, with birth certificates and citizenships, and you know what I mean in that respect. And that system has to be it's an extra security, okay, when people running the system don't trust human beings because they want to control them. Okay, they want to control human beings because they do not trust them, because they've got things like emotions. They're unpredictable. Oh, you've got the Mavericks. Oh, you might do this, you might do that. We need a solution for this and that. And that's why we need to control everything and monitor everything and compile files of metadata to predict the behavior. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like technocracy, which they're trying to implement? You see? Because they don't trust us in their criminal system. They don't trust us. But in the system itself, okay, knowing that any system is a copy of natural law and is based on security, that which they always offer, government's always offering us security, security. Due to their lack of trust in human beings, okay, they have to set up a trust and control human beings. And it has to, their system, being a copy of the natural order, always has to be contract based. Okay. There has to be contracts, because I do contracts with people in a written form when I don't trust them. Hey, I want you to bring me the lorry full of Pepsi Coke at 9 a.m. Tuesday. Okay, that's when I need them for the party happening afterward. But I don't really trust you because I don't know you. Therefore, we write a contract, okay, and we both sign it, and that's a written contract, okay, by which we go by an agreement. And when things don't happen as we agreed them, then in that contract it has to be clearly stated who takes the liability when damages are caused, and I don't get my Pepsi Cola. And my party's fucked up because no one's drinking Pepsi, although it's poisonous anyway. But who gives a damn? Let's just drink it anyway, huh? And that's the dynamics of how this works, okay? The liability approach. So any system is a copy of the natural order due to the lack of trust of different parties, okay? Due to the lack of trust, we have to set up contracts, okay? And every contract, every contract, everything is contract based in this world system. Therefore, every law is a contract, which binds to the social contract, okay, that was set up for our birth certificate. But every contract has to be insured, and there's other things in a contract that also have to be fulfilled, which are not respected by these criminals. Every contract has to be insured, as with the Pepsi Coke. If you do not deliver the Pepsi Coke by 9 a.m. on Tuesday, you're liable for this and that. Do we have an agreement? Okay. So therefore, none of what goes on with this world crisis of 2020 is insurable. It's not insurable. Who's liable for wearing a muzzle? You are, because you're wearing it. Okay? This is how it works. And a state, a representative government, can only enact laws. That's the outer, that's the boundary. In their own system, government is only allowed to enact laws. That's why they call it law and order. Okay? That's the system in which they actually operate in. Okay? That's their system. That's the system. But because you've got criminals running the world, they want to implement what is called, what I call, a criminal system that runs under criminal law. What is criminal law? Criminal law is making up your mind what law is. Okay, from now on, I want people to run around like pigs. Okay, this latest muzzle we've got here in this country and in Germany, it looks like a pig. Okay, yeah, we know you're Satanists. Okay, you're trying to mock us. Well, you lock us down, we take you down. Okay, with real information that they really don't want you to know. What I'm telling you here is the most important information I come across in 13 years of study, for free, to use how you see fit, because I don't have an agenda. I don't earn any money from this. I actually want to be free, and I don't have a fucking agenda, because I don't want to manipulate people. I actually want to empower humanity. And what better thing than telling a psychopath how the system is that he's bound by, and why he's not gonna get away with it. Ah, that's what I live for, okay? Telling them, and I've had this in my life, telling them how it is. The police, for example, on the 28th of February, let me explain this to you. On the 28th of February, we had another demonstration in Vienna, and this time we were only like 50 people, but we had a really massive impact. It was really interesting because the police blocked us where we couldn't march further, so we were stuck. So what do? Speak the truth. We had a microphone with boxes there, and I start talking about all sorts of things. Okay, give me a platform, and it's very difficult to speak in Vienna due to the controlled opposition and the tenseness because there's a lot of energy in Vienna. Lots of a very, very important spot along the energy grid of the Earth. That's why we activated the portal there. I mean, back to the story, they block us off and we start speaking truth. It gets too much for them. Police and politicians in the background. It's like, we got to stop these people talking because they've already mentioned liability 10 times. And it's like, what are we going to do? You know, they lose it. So you have to arrest the main speakers. So a policewoman comes up to me and we were standing there in a circle screaming, peace, freedom, sovereignty. Okay, peace, freedom, sovereignty. Peace, freedom, sovereignty. Peace, freedom, sovereignty. The whole time with drums in the background. It was really awesome. It's just fantastic. And they want to drag me out, and I said, what did I do? And she's like, just come with us. And I'm like, what did I do? And a policeman comes up and he's like, okay, then we have to take you out. And I'm like, okay, I'll just walk anyway. I just thought I might ask why I'm being arrested. You know, I'm sorry, didn't want to offend you. How about asking why? Crazy world. Anyways, we then proceed. They arrest me. Someone starts filming me. Okay, and I know this person was there. Starts filming me, and I use the opportunity. And oh, by the way, I say to the policemen around me and women, oh, by the way, governments are only allowed to enact laws. Isn't that right? And they say, yes, yes. Okay, good. So bring them in the conversation. So I explain to them, every law is a contract, and it binds to the social contract. Okay, every law is a contract. And every contract has to be insured, and none of these things that you're enforcing are insurable. And which then follows logically, through logic conclusion, is that every one of you here, as policemen and women, are in private liability for arresting me because there is no legal and no lawful, neither, no legal and no lawful, not according to the natural order and even not according to their own system that they operate in. It's illegal. Therefore, you're privately liable without your uniform as a flesh and blood human being. Expected. So what happens? I say that. That was the first time I tried it. It gives you a lot of power to have the wisdom of experience when you do things like that. And they arrest us, they bring us to the station where we were, I don't know, they wanted to lock us up or whatever, I don't know. But they open up the door and they say, we've just checked in with the lawyer and here's the exit. So that was just for public consumption. They arrested me just for public consumption. It's like, oh, you see what happens when you speak publicly? You see, you get arrested. Ooh, oh, it's such a freak show. It's such an illusion. It just runs on pure fear. And when you stand up to yourself and you speak the truth, especially about private liability, And why they're privately liable? They're done. Oh, just checked with the lawyer and you can leave now. He meant just check with the lawyer. You're absolutely spot on with everything you've said. You see, that's when I know that something is right. What I'm doing. What what peace comes in there. Oh, so you've been arrested and they had to let you leave again. So what did I think? Okay, the next step, the next step, the next step. That's why I'm putting together a notice of liability template for you to work on from experience. Because the next step I did is I write a notice of peace to the Austrian Interior Minister, okay, via email, and I notified him that if he were, because he's the highest up in the police force, okay, the Interior Minister, his name is Karl Nehammer, and I notified him and I said, if you ever again illegally and unlawfully arrest me, I choose the rate of what my life force energy is worth. You do your job, I do my job. How about that, huh? How about that? You think you're talking to some idiot? Because you're definitely not talking to an idiot. You're talking to someone who has worked 13 years on taking this criminal system down and ending it. All of you. No one excluded. But in a loving way. I'm just working with mechanisms, how it actually is. I'm not interested in you as a human being. I'd like you to take a holiday, resign. I don't want Nuremberg trials. I want you to listen. Because stupidity is not going to put you out of your misery. All right, mate? So I told him, if you unlawfully and illegally arrest me again, 1 hour of my life force energy costs you 369 million euros. Okay? What are you going to do about it? Because I decide how much my life force energy is worth. And because of my lack of trust in you as an acting criminal, complying with criminality, I make my insurance because I'll insure myself, but not with money, but with information. Because I don't have any money anyway. I just get along each day somehow. So I insure myself with information, and the information I have is that everything in this world system runs on contract because it's a copy of the natural order, and contracts have to be insured. So therefore, I make my insurance because I don't trust you, because you've not shown me a lot of good behavior these past few months in acting in this crisis, acting as a political representative. You've not done a good job, mate. So I don't trust you. Therefore, I make insurance. If you were to take me, this is what it costs. 369, the code of the universe. Huh? You activate something big there also. When you say it costs 369 euros, million euros, and he's like, why 369? Yeah, that's how far the difference between my intelligence and your intelligence actually is. Okay? And there will come a turning of the table point, okay, where these people will actually have to listen to us. It's never a mistake to be a pioneer. It's never a mistake to be further in understanding than others. It's a gift. And that's what the greatest geniuses that this world has ever seen have always done. And they've been crucified for it, for daring to move humanity on away from slavery. And only after their death, everyone suddenly comes up with, oh, this this Tesla guy actually did a lot of good things, but he died without a penny in his pocket. You see? Yeah, that's what it's about. Knowledge is power. Uh, Knowledge is the basis of power, but using knowledge is power, and we need to use that knowledge. So that was a bit of a rant. I've taken some notes. Very good for the command that I'm going to do. And wow, just going through the comments here a little bit. Yeah, what I also want to mention is that we couple the notice of liability approach with energy rituals also inside of the city of Vienna and also in sacred places on the land. And what's very interesting is that we're talking here in this country, they're talking about a vax catastrophe because they can't get the vax everywhere. You know, they can't do it because I have a strong feeling because the energetics of the land doesn't carry it anymore. That's why, if there's one thing these people are skilled at, it's organizing. Okay, and then suddenly the infrastructure falls apart, and they're not able to transport the doses. Okay, how are you going to explain that? It's because of the energetics of the land. When the energy of the land rises, and you do energy rituals with intention about freedom, then they can't pull it off. They can't do it. So that's also a key component of the notice of liability, working with the energetics of the land. And also, it's your own internal work, okay? Because you're dealing with energy. You can't hold someone accountable, okay, when you don't hold yourself accountable. I can only give what I have myself, okay? Can't give anything that I don't have. How is that going to work, okay? Simple understanding is necessary. The truth is simple. That's what really needs to come into your notice of liability approach also. And as I say, you know, you get the template soon. It's going to be some really nice nuggets in there. It's the internal shadow work, working on integrating your shadow, which means you own your emotions, okay? Really working with it, at least become aware more and more of this process of responsibility instead of reaction, okay? Reactionary is the archontic mind, okay? The manipulation, mental and emotional manipulation of the archontic mind leads to reactionary behavior. But as human beings, we have the capacity for emotional intelligence, okay, and for emotional integrity and emotional competence, okay, to work with our emotions. What we're actually doing is we're working with our energy in a creative manner. And then we can actually use our energy toward the right intentions. And when you embark on wanting to hold people in so-called positions of power liable, you'll be confronted with your own shit. And it's important not to tap into any of the traps that lie ahead. One of the traps being, for example, the martyr complex. Okay? Oh, I sacrifice myself for everyone, and I'm really gonna push these politicians to account and like full war zone, okay? Steve also goes to war. First there's war, then there's peace, yeah? But I do it in a certain way. Study the art of war. Study your enemy. Okay, and realize the Achilles heel that they have. And in your approach, do not apply pressure onto them. Okay. Always realize that you're focusing on a mechanism, okay, not human being. It's not a human being that you want to take out. So in this country, for example, that's why I always think for myself, and I think independently, because the collective is always wrong, catastrophically wrong. Even in the truth movement, the collective that forms there is wrong. It's so wrong it cannot be further from the truth, because they're deceived, because they don't see through the levels of different manipulations trying to never ever make them realize the truth. There's so many layers to this. That's why I also talk about controlled opposition. And in this country, they keep saying Kurz muss weg, Kurz muss weg. Kurz has to go, Kurz being the chancellor. And what do? I say, well, Kurz has to come here, actually. I say exactly the 180-degree opposite to what the collective says. Well, Kurz actually has to come here to the table, okay, Mr. Criminal, and speak to me, because I know the information why he's privately liable and is fucking his whole life up with the bullshit behavior that he puts in every day, and probably can only escape that reality through a proper dose of cocaine every day. That's what happens, probably. I'm not kidding. They probably need, I don't know how much cocaine they need to escape this reality. They are reality escapers. Let me tell you, these politicians, they really do not look happy. Therefore, the happy people, the real happy people that work on themselves and holding them to account, will show them the way. Because we'll be out there celebrating, okay? Celebrating the Festival for Freedom every Friday. We've been doing that since the beginning of May 2020. And who's still there every Friday celebrating a Festival for Freedom? We are! Because we're doing something right. Where everyone's in lockdown and everyone's like, oh, it's a catastrophic situation. We have to stay at home. We're outside. Minus 10 degrees, don't give a damn. I'll show my face outside and party. Okay? Have a nice drink, roll a zig, and just chill the fuck out. That's what the world needs. Okay? That's healing. Not only your daily meditation on the mountain like Buddha. Maybe sometimes you need a drink and a proper chat about things. That's what the world needs. Festivals for freedom. That's why we're doing them, and we're going to continue doing them and do them even more. What a great thing. So, working on oneself, very, very important, because you are initiating something, even now. Okay, when you're looking forward to my template that I'm going to be giving you about the notice of liability, and I will also do a video on that. Okay, give further in-depth understanding. This serves for my crystallization of ideas, live video, for my crystallization of ideas for the command I'm doing for Josh Del Sol's reunion summit. The link is underneath here. All right, check it out. Our interview is going out in 3 days, and we dropped the bomb. Me and Errol, together with our dear friend Lena. It's really good. So, in your decision, okay, and right now is decision time. Everyone's watching here right now, okay. We just passed the 21st of March, okay, and we're now, what has started in this sine wave, this cycle of creation, is the first quarter. Okay, there's three. When you take a sine wave, there's 3 quarters. No, 4 quarters. Stupid. 4 quarters. And now we're in one of the 4 elements. Okay, 1 quarter for each element, and now is the element of fire. Quadruple areas. So if you ever wondered why I'm called the chili also and eat a lot of chili. It's because I'm fire, I'm mainly fire. Okay, and I need some water. Actually, I really do need some water. Getting a little bit thirsty here. What I want to say is that a lot of inspiration is going to flow in now. Beginning of springtime, inspirations flow in, and you're like, wow, this idea, wow, that idea. If the idea is to be a proper hero for human history and for the human family, then the notice of liability approach is for you. Okay, if that speaks to you. And you've got Ahmed, big shout to Ahmed here in London doing that. Got other people contacting me also from Slovenia, from Hawaii, people from all across the world contact me wanting to do this. In Holland also, people are onto it. You see, it's in the collective field. And that's what we need, okay? We need heroes and we need heroines. I don't know why I always feel crazy saying that. Heroes and queens, or, you know, the divine feminine, divine masculine. We need that in our world. And we could all be those heroes. We're the ones we've been waiting for. And now's the time. If you feel stuck energetically and not in a good place, you're now going to get an upswing. Can guarantee it to you, because it's the beginning of spring now. And I'll be doing videos on one of the key elements in this notice of liability approach is working on yourself and doing shadow integration work, emotional work, which then lets you integrate your magnetic component of your being. And that's something I want to do more videos on. I'll try and be more quite creative about that also, maybe. Okay, I'll arrange it a day in advance and have only the chat as a guidance to dig into that, because I feel there's just so many shifting energies going on right now and they're being misinterpreted by people. Okay, when the energies are going up, it's a good sign. Okay, because this planet is rising into a new field of vibration, a new resonance field. Okay, the frequency of this planet is going up, and so is our frequency going up. But there's frequencies of low vibration that are still wanting to pull us down. And then you've got this schism happening. It's like, what's going on with me? And it's like, I'm feeling kind of weird. And then it's being misinterpreted by the mind as, oh, you've got a problem. Look. Oh, you've got a problem, when you don't. No, you've only got a choice to make. Okay. Do I break down or do I break through? That's everyone's choice. And to be totally honest, I'm happy that this choice is now here with the crisis of 2020. Absolutely marvelous. Okay, and we're now in 2021. The crisis still continues. It's a choice that we have to make. Do we want to live dependent on a system, or do we want to live sovereignly, in sovereignty? Okay, that's a choice we have to make, and there's a lot of internal work that's needed to get to this high resonance frequency. And that's beautiful work when you know how to navigate it and not fall like me, like I did, into nice little drama, haha, okay, and run around in circles for 10 years. 10 years of depression, or 11 years, something like that, where I was just hiding in my front room, okay, watching one video after the other of how the fuck could I get out of this rotten state again? Okay, that was me. I wouldn't even go 100 meters near a camera. I would have probably collapsed. That was me. Okay, I don't do this with the confidence that I have if I didn't go through major crises in my life, but that has only made me stronger. And therefore, I want to share those experiences and views with you in like the next time. So we've got 1 hour and 5 minutes past us. I'll say I'll wrap it up here right now. It's been quite amazing once again, and I look forward to speak to you very soon, maybe sooner than we can think. So tune in to the reunion summit of Josh Del Sol. We'll be live on there in 3 days' time. There's some amazing speakers there also. Just check it out and see if you get inspired. Okay, I hope I inspired you in this video. Just lovely to have all of you here, even if it's just the cyber space that we're sharing right now. But I tell you, we'll be doing festivals and parties all over the world, and we'll be looking at each other and think like, oh my goodness, we actually did it. Let's bring that future into the now and create it. Now's the best time. Beginning of a new cycle. We are creating the world that we want to see in harmony with our mother planet that I love so dearly, Pachamama, Mother Earth. Your true warrior is talking with the other true warriors, and we're taking the planet back, and we're doing it in the most amazing, skillful, and stylish way ever imagined. Peace.